finally out of the deep freeze here in Ontario, and the action's just getting hotter. I love it. It's the road to Royal Rumble, which is the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. So we're very excited. We got a lot to talk about this week. And Anthony's back from his trip to Italy. Tell us everything you learned.
Well, I tell you what, it was actually a very special trip. When I debuted in the WWE, Mr. McMahon asked my character, where are you from?
Yes.
And I said, San Fili, Calabria. And I had never been there. It's the town that my father and my family is from, but I visited that place for the first time.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a really cool trip. Very, very emotional.
That's excellent. Anthony Corelli, former WWE superstar, and former WWE referee Jimmy Corderas. What's up, Jimmy?
I had a great weekend. Went to my first ever Stag and Show.
Yes, combinations of Stag and Doe,
which
and a
was really
show.
good. Some nice comedy acts showed up. You know, headlined by the Doo-Wops, John Catucci and Dave Massiano.
Nice.
But you know what? I was impressed by the special surprise appearance all the way from Argentina, from Pepe Sanchez and Jose Luis Rivera.
Yeah.
You may know them better as Jose Luis Rivera and Pepe Sanchez.
They're fantastic. If you ever get a chance to see the Doo-Wops, I recommend it. And thank you for coming. That was a good time.
It was
my Stag and Show, so I'm getting married soon. But she doesn't like wrestling. We're talking about it. But since we're talking about it right now, we're going to talk about our wins and fails for the week. Anthony, what did you like in the world of WWE?
I like things that are new, that are different, not the same old. And last night we had something that was not the same old. We had Titus Worldwide with a surprising victory over the Bar, and it was just so well received by the audience because I believe it was something new and different. Here it is right here, the cover, un, deux, trois, and boom, look at them jumping out of their seats. And you know what? I know Titus has been there a while now. And he is an awesome guy, great dad. He does a lot for the community, and when football players come, sometimes people get upset because they didn't pay their dues, and just because they're huge, strong athletes, they're going to get leapfrog a few positions. But after they've been there a long time, they've paid those dues, and they deserve to win. And I'm proud of him and the audience. I'm proud of the audience for liking it.
They really liked it last night.
Especially considering, you know, everybody, especially nowadays, it's almost like the audience we want things to happen now. We want it to happen yesterday in a lot of cases. They forget sometimes that in this business, especially in sports entertainment, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Stuff doesn't happen right away. And I love the fact that it's taken time for Titus to find himself. It's taken time for him and Apollo Crews to gel together as a unit, and bringing Dana Brooke on board adds a nice little element to that.
That's the secret weapon for me. Dana Brooke keeping the stats. She's the official statistician of Titus Worldwide. Her keeping stats allows them to learn from their mistakes, and they've really learned, and they've learned enough to win.
You know what? I had very little use for Dana Brooke in terms of her in-ring ability and everything, but in this role, absolutely perfect.
Yes.
She's perfect. Keep it up.
Yep. I love it. And Jimmy, what was your win this week?
Surprisingly, you talk about new stuff. It's kind of new, old new. The Miz. He's returned to Raw, and he made an impact right away. And I love the fact that he's just antagonizes everybody, and right away he's thrust himself back into the Intercontinental Championship picture. You know, challenging Roman Reigns. He's entitled to his rematch, which is an automatic thing. Any champion who loses their title gets an automatic rematch. And I love the fact that it's happening at the 25th anniversary of Raw, where we're going to get a lot of returning superstars, including my all-time favorite, The Undertaker. So, Miz returning to Raw is a win-win for me.
Well, you know, they say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And no, it was good to have him back. Actually, it was good to have him back because there's something entertaining there. There's someone that can speak. A lot of the other top guys, they're missing some type of personal connection on the mic. They don't have that charm. This is not traditional charm, but it's at least genuine conviction.
It absolutely is.
And it is engaging. That's the thing. It is engaging when he's on the mic.
He's funny.
He's great. And shout out to Bo Dallas last night for giving The Miz a picture of The Miz as a gift and saying it's going to be hard to sleep without this tonight. I thought that was the line of the night for me. My win comes from last week's SmackDown. I said I'd hoped that Xavier Woods went through in the United States Championship tournament, and he did. Woods for U.S. Champ is a hashtag. Woods U.S. Champ. I'm very excited. He looked good. I love this tightrope elbow that he does. It's fantastic. And I like the upcoming match against Jinder Mahal because you've got the New Day, which has 3 guys, against Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers. There's going to be a lot of malarkey on the outside of the ring. I'm really looking forward to that match. This U.S. tournament is giving me a lot of different matchups, a lot of not the same that you like.
Very good, not the same. I know when Woods came up in the beginning, the only person that really kind of matters, Vince, wasn't really impressed. He's an undersized guy, and if you're going to be that size, that he expected, I guess, a lot more agility or the dynamic maneuvers. But in time, he's obviously winning over the boss, and he's doing really well, and he's coming into it. Now, for someone that's been, how much more polishing can there be? You've been through the indies and then developmental, and you're up here, but he's actually still coming into his own, and the future looks quite bright.
Yeah, it goes to that saying that you never stop learning in this industry. Every day you should learn something new. Depending on who you learn something from your opponent, you learn something from your partners, you learn something from the boss, you learn something from everybody. You could even learn something from a referee sometimes.
What?
Maybe.
No, don't tell people that on Twitter. They're not going to listen to that.
Of course not.
But we've learned a lot about what we like, but we need to learn a little bit about what we don't like. So let's get to our fails. Anthony, what did you not like this week?
Okay. Braun Strowman. He found a grappling hook.
Yes, backstage.
I think Batman dropped it.
Yeah, it was a battering.
And why is there, who uses grappling hooks?
Whoever sets up the ring. I'm guessing.
I've set up rings.
Did you ever use a grappling hook?
Immediately, when he held up the grappling hook, everyone started going, no! Like they knew what he was going to do. I thought he was going to hook the guy in the mouth with it or hit him in the head with it. Yeah. And people were like, anyway, so he throws up to this trussing.
Nails it on the first try.
That was impressive.
Who has experience with grappling hooks?
Braun Strowman?
I do.
Oh, Jimmy.
No,
I've never thrown a grappling hook in my life. I wish, actually, you know what? I'm buying a grappling hook. I think they sell them at sale. Anyway, and he pulls down this thing. And I don't know if he just wanted destruction. I don't know if he wanted it to land on people. What a jerk.
It just seemed weird.
Breaking stuff for no reason with grappling hooks.
That's kind of his MO, though. He breaks a lot of things.
Oh, and then at the end, and the audience actually laughed.
Of course, they loved it.
Because
Of course they did. It seemed weird to you. I
Shenanigans.
understand. Yes. Jimmy, what did you not like this week?
I enjoy Cedric Alexander. I think he's a tremendous talent. I think he has a lot of upside potential. Someone needs to tell him that you cannot win a championship on a countout. Because last night, after he won the match, he seemed very excited that he won the match. Guess what? You didn't win the title. That's the goal. You should be upset about that.
Yeah, I assumed that he was happy because winning a match against the champion definitely puts you in an opportunity.
Yeah, but that was his opportunity.
That was his opportunity. You know
that was his title shot.
Well, does he get another one?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
you probably
count
will,
out victory. But how many years has he been wrestling? He should know that a count out victory doesn't change hands for the title.
It's akin to somebody's music hits and you get distracted and you go, ooh, like your Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Watch the show. Yeah. I always think that. Do you not watch the show?
You look pretty banged up there.
Yeah, Enzo had
you know what?
a little bit of a cut and a bit of an ankle thing.
I don't wish ill will on anybody, but
except one person.
Except Enzo. If you saw, wait a minute, did anybody catch his interview with Corey Graves afterwards on the network?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, you want to watch that interview with Corey Graves. You'll like Enzo even less after that. My fail comes from Monday Night Raw. I love Woken Matt Hardy, and I really like this stuff going on with Bray Wyatt, but it's their first face-to-face in a ring, and your biggest offense was laughing in his face for 2.5 minutes. It drove me bananas. I like them both. I like the feud. I wish Matt Hardy would come to the ring with Napoleon the Goldfish, but just laughing, it was awkward, and it went on too long. And I know that's a lot of the Woken Matt Hardy thing, you know, with his broken brain and everything. He just does things that's too long. He goes on too long until it's awkward. But that last night was super awkward.
I was watching it and I'm like, and
yeah, exactly.
You were waiting for the next thing to happen.
What's that movie? Where's my car? And then
nothing happened.
And okay. So I mean, I get mind games, I get the cerebral attack, but when you're that close, you got to throw down, man. You got to go. So we're fighting, and it didn't happen.
I agree with that. I mean, like I was waiting, like you said, for that next step. But it was almost like a schoolyard fight when you're kids and you go, hit me. No, you hit me first. You hit me first.
Well, their next step might be coming next week. Our next step is going to commercial, and we'll be back to talk more about Monday Night Raw right after this.
I wanted them to just.
We had a Threes company last night of Balor Club against the Threes a crowd of 2/3 of the Shield and Jason Jordan. Boy, nobody wants Jason Jordan at that party. But Jason Jordan goaded Balor Club into a match, and it was the main event of Raw last night. I'm not really a fan of either team. What do you guys think? What did you think of this last night?
It was very awkward. I like the fact that he goes, we're all champions, and he's just including himself, and the facial expressions on the remaining members of the Shield, it's priceless. But you know what? At the end of the day, he's injecting himself into a main event and into a very, very important spot. So, mission accomplished. And also, I like the fact that it's the Bullet Club.
Balor Club
versus the Shield and Jason Jordan. Something new.
It was something new.
I find it interesting that 2/3 of the Shield and Guest are not getting along very well. I like the fact that Jason Jordan is just antagonizing everybody, and it's making him relevant. Otherwise, I have a feeling he would not be at all.
No, he's doing a good job of making everyone hate him.
Yes, so it's helping him along. I think this is all serving him well. I don't think it's going to serve the other two guys very well. As far as the Balor Club goes, I know the backstory.
Of course.
You know the backstory. You know the backstory. The problem for me is that the majority of the WWE Universe, who are not hardcore, diehard fans, do not know the backstory between these guys. So it's lost on them. And we talk about how sometimes, we've talked about this before, Anthony, sometimes what works in Japan doesn't work here.
No, and
I don't think it's translating well yet.
It was weird to see them backstage. First of all, the backstage segment with the Balor Club in the locker room was the most normal I've ever seen Finn Balor. Ever. Mm-hmm. Like, he seemed very relaxed to be chatting with his friends. But also, all they were doing was reminiscing about Japan. And then they put up old pictures about what they did in Japan. Mm-hmm. Do stuff here. Do stuff here.
Yeah.
I said last week it was my fail. I just want them to do stuff. Now they have a win over 2/3 of the Shield and Guest. So maybe that's going to help them. Who knows?
That's going to be our new moniker for them, I think.
2/3 of the Shield and Guest?
And Guest.
That's like when you get invited to a wedding and it's just you plus guest.
Yeah.
So we also have announced this Women's Royal Rumble, and it looks like 30 names. Now, Kurt Angle was on the phone last night with somebody saying, I know you haven't competed for a while. It'd be a huge surprise if it came back, blah, blah, blah. We don't know who he was talking to. Mm-hmm. So let's open it up. If there was somebody to come back and be a surprise in the Royal Rumble for the women, who would you like it to be?
Well, you know, the Twitter machine was blowing up yesterday, and there was that one. She was a diva back then, but she's a woman. She won the Miss WrestleMania competition. I believe it was in Houston, Texas, back in the day. A lady named Santina.
Yes.
And she was pretty strong and pretty
popular.
Very popular. Mm-hmm. She was very, very well received by the WWE Universe. And then she kind of vanished, but it'd be cool to see her.
Yes.
I'm going to go way back because I was watching the network on the weekend, and they had the first Royal Rumble on. And there was a women's tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, which existed at the time. And there was a team called the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Oh, I loved the Jumping Bomb Angels.
You talk about revolutionizing women's wrestling. At that time, they revolutionized women's wrestling in the United States and North America. That would be interesting to have someone like them come back and compete with the athletes, the women athletes of today.
I could name 4 or 5 people I'd like to see come back. I'd like to see Victoria come back. There's a lot. But for me, the one I'd really like to see is Alundra Blaze's old opponent, Bull Nakano. Ooh. I would love to see Bull Nakano back in the ring because I know she still wrestles, and I think she would really just throw a ton of people out of that ring. Mm-hmm. But we've got a special just kind of came out, big announcement just happened. There's going to be a mini NXT tour in Ontario. It's going to go Barrie, Peterborough, St. Catharines, and Mississauga, I believe.
Yeah, Mississauga.
And so this is going to happen in February over a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a lot of NXT action real quick. Why should people go see this?
NXT is fantastic. One, it's new. Two, you're going to be able to say, and everyone loves to say this, oh, I knew that guy or girl before they got big. But it's just really good wrestling, and it's actually a good snapshot of what the NXT Performance Center is producing and the direction that wrestling is going in, sports entertainment. Also, it's going to be at the Hershey Center, and I think I kind of called them and said, "Do you ever think of going to the Hershey Center?"
All right.
And anyway, the Hershey Center, yeah. So kind of.
So thank Anthony is what he's trying to say. Jimmy, real quick, what do you think why should they go?
Because for me, NXT is a nice blend of old school meets new school. Like you're saying, the future of professional wrestling sports entertainment is NXT. I think they're heading in the right direction, and we talked about this before about the evolution of the business. You don't want to go from here to here. You want to evolve slowly, and NXT is that evolution.
And we've got to go from here to there for commercials, or there. But we're going to be right back to talk all about tonight's SmackDown. Lots going on. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I'm excited. You know why I don't?
I'm the WWE champion. I want to come out here and entertain these people with somebody else getting involved. You know what? Here's a thought. Here's a thought so I can make everybody happy. Why don't you just make those two in a match with me? Why don't you make it a handicap match?
That's it. At the Royal Rumble, AJ Styles will defend his championship against both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a handicap match.
Why did he just do that?
Well, AJ Styles just asked for that match.
Yeah, he said it's a thought. It's like an idea. It's like when you go up to a big guy and say, "I'm going to kick your butt outside," and he goes, "Okay." You go, "It's just an idea."
So you think AJ made a mistake?
Well, AJ was speaking from frustration and emotion, but Daniel Bryan's supposed to be the rational one here, and supposed to have the best interest of the superstars. And I'm all frustrated. That was really what happened there.
Well, it looks like I said, Daniel Bryan is trying to overcompensate for what Shane McMahon and his indiscretions against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And I got to give him a little bit of blame here to AJ Styles, because sometimes you don't think out loud. You keep your inside voice inside and don't let it, fester, because sometimes it'll make you write checks your butt can't cash.
Well, there is glory in unexpressed thought. It's fine to not say anything, and I think that was a situation where AJ should not have said anything. I also think you're right. Daniel Bryan is overcompensating. If you look at SmackDown like a car, Shane McMahon's been veering a little off to one side, so Daniel Bryan's grabbing the wheel and bringing it back, but then the whole thing spins out. I think that's what's happening on SmackDown. I mean, after all, this is the show that's not about the authority figures. This is about the wrestlers,
right?
And it seems to be only about the authority figures right now because Shane McMahon is a tyrant.
Right. So Daniel Bryan, don't jerk the wheel.
No, don't turn into the opposite tyrant version of Shane. That's not a word. We're moving on to the U.S. tournament, the U.S. title tournament. We have a match tonight, and a big match against two guys that really don't like each other. Zack Ryder, who has a new shirt in the Shop Zone, by the way, and Mojo Rawley. And the winner will face Bobby Roode. Who you got?
Well, this is very interesting because it's not just two athletes that don't like each other. It seems like it's their storyline, their destiny, their legacies that are also fighting. This is, Zack Ryder, someone who's been there and never quite got that what he deserved in terms of his popularity, what people wanted for him, his hard work. He's been there a long time. He's paid a tremendous amount of dues. And now he's almost back to where he should be. And then there's this guy who's just blazing a trail for himself in Mojo Rawley, and maybe he's going to fulfill his destiny. So it's not just two men against each other. It's two wills, fulfilling their destiny, colliding.
Regardless of who wins this match tonight, I think they run into a buzzsaw named Bobby Roode. So it'll be a glorious buzzsaw. And for me, Bobby Roode has to be if not the favorite, one of the two favorites. To
Yes,
win,
and
to
on
win
the
this
other
tournament.
side of that tournament, as we talked about before, we have Xavier Woods against Jinder Mahal. I really think it's a Jinder Rude finish for this title. But let's not forget, the champion is technically still Dolph Ziggler, who just laid the belt down and walked away. He just left it there in the ring. So I can't see this having a conclusion that doesn't involve Dolph Ziggler.
Well, I think Dolph Ziggler, obviously, he hasn't made his plans known.
Nope.
We don't know if he walked away for good. I think we're going to find out soon what is up with him, and I have a theory. My hamster is on the wheel.
I like when you have theories. We can go into that prediction when the finals happen, too. And speaking of belts and titles and changes and not changes and what's happening, Gable and Benjamin had a win over the Usos last week, but turned out they pinned the wrong guy thanks to instant replay, which we haven't seen for a while. We found out that they had pinned the wrong man. The match was restarted, and the Usos retained their titles. Now, we are going to mention that the very first time instant replay was ever used in a match in the WWE, the referee for that match was Jimmy Cordero.
Hey.
So no one knows more about this instant replay than you. Sorry, Twitter, it's true. Jimmy, what do you think about what happened?
I find it interesting that, yes, I did use instant replay in the past but that was under a different circumstance. That was a cage match between The Undertaker and Batista. Both men appeared to be landing at the same time, so we were trying to determine who landed first to win the match. The outcome was, of course, they landed at the same time from video replay, so the match is a draw. This was a completely different scenario where the referee of the match lost track of who the legal man was. And in that situation, yes, the illegal man was pinned, but I don't know if instant replay should have been used, or even if the other referee came out to challenge or discredit, I don't want to say discredit, but correct the other referee. Sometimes taking the human element out of a decision kind of hampers the decision, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I do know what you mean, actually. But also to compound the difficulty, they're twins. And sometimes I've seen guys pin the wrong guy just based on some confusion, some action that happened in the ring. When you throw the fact that they're twins in there, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. Well, actually, they don't get pinned very often.
No, it's true.
But that also has to be a serious impact on them, knowing that they can be beat. It was a technicality, but it's 2 against 2. You pin one guy, you're pinning one guy of that team. So they beat them.
So do you think they deserve another shot at the title?
100%.
Jimmy?
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely
think they do too. I mean, as much as I love seeing the Usos as champions, they do deserve another shot. And we deserve another show next week because we're out of time. We're going to talk about everything from this week next week and enjoy SmackDown tonight. I'm really looking forward to that U.S. title match between Zach and Mojo. We'll see you next week on Aftermath. Bye-bye, everybody.